So come to a reclined position all the way down. Take a few seconds to just settle in. So wiggle out arms and shoulders. Let the knees and hips relax into the support of the ground beneath you. Maybe wiggle whatever needs to get wiggled to just be able to completely relax onto the floor. Closing your eyes if that's available for you. And then just bring your attention to your breath. Taking a nice long full inhale, letting that inhale spill all the way past the lungs into the belly. Exhaling, bringing the belly back in, releasing all the used air. Repeating that, letting the exhales get a little bit longer. And as you release additional oxygen and you're able to fill again a little bit fuller on the next inhale, you're lengthening the inhale and lengthening the exhale. Feeling the fresh oxygen moving into the body, allowing the exhale to release tension out of the body. And as you relax a little bit more fully into this physical shape, notice your mind and bring calming breaths in, and as you exhale, calm the mind, releasing any distracting thoughts, releasing your attachment to any agendas, and just letting the mind quiet and still. Completing about 2 to 3 more rounds of full lengthened inhales and complete and lengthened exhales. And as you finish at your pace on the final exhalation, your next inhalation, just start to kind of wiggle fingers and toes, maybe moving the wrists and ankles back and forth. And to begin with, if you choose, you can continue to work with your eyes closed. On your next natural inhale, you're going to reach the arms up above the head, extending the arms long, fingertips along the ground, and point the toes. Take a full good morning stretch. And then we're going to just slide that right foot out to the right edge of the mat and slide the left foot over to meet it. If you choose, you can stay here, or you can cross that left ankle over the right ankle. And then slide the right arm over towards the right, and maybe even shimmy the shoulders over to the right side. And the left hand reaches the right hand, or you can cross the forearms and grab opposite elbows and see how comfortable that is for your shoulder mobility. So hips stay center, ankles come over to the right, shoulders come over to the right. And then from here you can either keep your chin up towards the ceiling, or you can exhale and let that chin come over to the right shoulder. Feeling a lengthening along the left side body from the left elbow, past the armpit, along the rib cage, past the outer thigh, all the way down to the left ankle. If you don't feel quite enough sensation or any sensation at all, you can lift the hips, shift the hips further to the left, and then recross that left ankle. Holding here just for one more complete inhale and lengthened exhale. And then shift everything back to center. So you bring the shoulders and the arms back to center. Uncross the left ankle, bring that left ankle all the way over to the left side of the mat. And then your hips, you're either going to keep them centered if that's where they were on the first side, or maybe shift them over to the right if you feel like you need a little bit more sensation. And the right foot comes over to meet the left. Just noticing what that feels like. And if you choose, crossing the right ankle over the left, moving the shoulders over towards the left side, and then you're going to, again, if it was available on the other side, you're going to cross at the forearms, and then this time see if you can cross the opposite direction, the one that feels a little bit awkward. And then let those arms come above the head. You can keep the chin where it is, or on your next natural exhale, you can lower the chin towards the left shoulder. Nice. Take another long, full inhale and exhale here. And then we're going to release that. On your inhale, you're going to come back towards the center with the shoulders, uncross the right ankle, and then both ankles out to the edges of the mat. If you're on a mat, ankles come out. If you're not on a mat, just wide legs, and then let the toes fall open. Reaching the arms up above the head one last time, spreading it apart, pointing the toes, and then exhale to release. Bring those arms back down towards your side body. Start to slide the feet along the mat so you can bring the knees up to the ceiling. Feet are comfortably close towards your seat. You're going to take an inhale here and then exhale to press that low back down towards the mat. Inhale to release. Exhale to press the low back down. And then inhale, you're going to press into your feet. Exhale as you lift the hips and hold here. So the weight is across the upper back and the shoulder blades. You're not bringing the weight into the back of the head or the neck. And you're pressing into the feet to hold the hips up any amount. Last inhale here. And then exhale, lower the spine down one vertebrae at a time. Tailbone landing last. And then inhale to prepare. Exhale, press the low back down to the mat. Inhale, press into the feet, lift the hips, and hold up. Now, the hips can be anywhere from just hovering above the floor to possibly a straight line from shoulder past hip up to the knee. Using the energizing of the feet to maintain the lift of the hips. Keeping the collarbones open, shoulders away from the ears. Last breath in here. And then exhale, lower down one vertebrae at a time. Gently landing the tailbone down last. On your next inhale, you're going to lift your right foot, cross it over the left thigh, and then flex that right foot as you press the knee away from you. So you're actually opening up the crease between the pelvis and the thigh. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, press the low back down into the mat, and then inhale, press into your left foot and float the hips up. Feeling the different sensation in that left side as you still try to keep that right knee open and away from you. Exhale, lower down. And then as you inhale, you're going to release that right foot down to the floor. Take a breath to reset the body, and then inhale, float the left foot up, cross the left foot over the thigh, left knee pressing away from the hip, and then inhale to prepare, pressing into that right foot. Exhale, press the low back down to the mat, and then inhale, float the hips. Warming up the spine, starting to integrate a little bit of the hip as well. Exhale to lower down, gently and slowly, and then release the left foot down. Coming back to the right side, you're going to pull that right knee in towards the chest. Circle the ankle if that would feel good for you, one way and then the other. Just moving a bit more mobility into the ankle. And then start to do the same thing with that hip. So you're just circling the knee around, bringing some more motion and movement into the hip. Reverse the circle. And then you're going to cross that right knee over the left. Open the arms to the side. Inhale to prepare. And then exhale, lower the knees over towards the left. Chin can stay to the ceiling, or the chin can come over to the shoulder. Inhale to bring the chin back up. Float the knees to center. Exhale to release that right foot. And then the left leg comes in, pulling that left thigh towards the chest, and then circling the left ankle. One direction and then the other. And then bringing that same circling motion into the hips. So circling the knee one direction and then reverse. Back to center. Inhale to cross the left leg over the right any amount. Arms open to the side. Exhale to lower the knees over to the right. Chin comes over to the left. Hold here for a breath. And then inhale, bring the chin back to center. Float the knees back up and uncross the left leg. Pause to readjust the body. And then as you're ready, you're going to inhale and pull both knees in this time. Grabbing behind the thighs or fronts of the shins. This time we're going to just rock side to side, giving a little bit of a massage to the low back, the kidneys and adrenal glands. And then moving that same motion, but forward and back. So you're tucking the chin a little bit, starting to rock the length of the spine, moving only to the shoulder blades and then back towards the tailbone. After you've rocked about 3 to 5 times, you're going to rock up and then see if you can just hold it in a variation of boat pose. Now if your feet land on the floor, totally fine. Otherwise you can keep the feet at about knee level. You can even release the arms if you choose, keeping that sternum lifting towards the knees, keeping the collarbones open. Chin parallel to the floor. Hold for one more breath. Exhale, you're going to grab back behind the thighs, and this time you're just going to start to lower that spine down and then lengthen your legs long and hold in low boat or canoe. Inhale to pull back up. Last time in boat. Release the arms if you choose. One more breath here. And then exhale, release the legs down, crossing, and you can either swing the legs over to the side or you can roll over your knees and come to all fours. So you're going to have hands directly under the shoulders, knees directly under the hips. And to start with, you're going to keep the toes pressed into the floor. We're going to do quite a few different varieties of this tabletop today. So you're going to go to whichever version is working best for you. To start with, set up your foundation. So your arms are going to have elbow creases facing each other, and the upper arm bone, actually the upper arm muscles, you're going to think about pulling that tricep, kind of wrapping it around the outside of the arm and pressing it to the wall, to the outside wall. So really firming up and pressing into those arms so that you can broaden across that upper back, widen across the collarbones. Take a breath here to prepare, and then you're going to inhale and float the knees. Any amount, ½ inch to 1 inch. If this does not work for you for whatever reason, you're going to keep your knees down on the ground. Whichever position you're in, your gaze is directly under your eyes, meaning that your head is in line with your spine and you're not bringing your gaze back towards your knees. Exhale to release down. And then inhale to prepare, coming into a cow belly breath. Tail lifts, chin lifts, and then exhale, round it up. And as you round, you're going to just start to lower your seat towards your lifted heels, maybe even lowering the forehead down. Take a breath and release. And then inhale, press into the ground with the hands, lift the torso and come back in. You're going to inhale and float the knees. Hold it up for 2 full breaths, watching where your gaze is so you know that your head is not dropping. Pressing the upper arm bones to the outer walls. And then exhale, release down. Take an inhale to lift the chin, lift the tail. Exhale, round through the spine, lower down into a version of extended child's pose. Inhale to press the floor away and lift back up to all fours. I'm going to offer you a couple other variations on that child pose variation. If you choose, you go back to what we just did, or you can go into a traditional child's pose. Otherwise, we're going to keep our knees off the ground the entire time, and we're going to do approximately 3 to 5 rounds depending on your breath. Pressing those upper arm bones out, broadening across the back. You're going to inhale to prepare, lift the knees, float them here. Now, if you like, you're going to keep the knees lifted and you're going to exhale and shift those hips back. Inhale to come forward. Exhale to shift back, really starting to fire up the quadriceps and the thighs. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, shift back. And if you are going faster or slower than my cues, that's fine. Just follow your breath. Last one for me. Inhale here. Exhale to press back. Inhale to come forward. Lower the knees down. Untuck the toes. And then slowly and gently release the hips towards the heels. Extend the arms long. Traditional child's pose. Lowering the forehead towards the mat. Taking about 2 to 3 lengthened breaths here. Inhale to lift the gaze. Press that floor away with the hands, coming back up to all fours. You're going to move your right foot forward so that it lands about where your right hand is. And that means that you are standing on the left thigh. Please prepare to cushion that knee if you need to so that you don't have too much pressure on that left knee. Coming up with the torso, sternum is lifted towards the wall in front of you. And then from here, you're going to think about what's happening with your hips and your pelvis. You want to try and keep that pelvis pretty even from side to side. And you're going to walk that right foot forward about 2 to 3 inches. And as you exhale, you're just going to start to tilt the pelvis forward, pulling the right femur into the hip socket. So really thinking about pushing that right thigh bone back and keeping the pelvis level. Inhale to reach the arms up. And then exhale, you're going to lower both hands towards the shoulder blades. Now, depending on the length of your arms, everybody's going to probably land a little bit differently, and shoulder mobility makes a difference here too. But you're thinking about maybe crossing your hands at the back of your neck and then pressing the back of your head into the forearms. So you're actually creating shoulder mobility, opening up the backs of the upper arm, and there's some core work involved here. Last breath. Exhale to release. Lower the hands to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes into the mat. Lift the back knee and then take a big step forward to the top so that both feet land together, and you are exhaling as you fold forward. Inhale to bring the hands to the shins, lengthen the spine, soft knees. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, you're going to lift the torso, reach the arms, extend them up, and then cactus the arms on the exhale. Lifting the sternum. Inhale to reach up, and then exhale, hinge forward from the hips, right back into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, soften the knees, bring the hands to the mat, and then step the feet all the way towards the back. So you are coming into your first plank. Variation number 1 is you're going to lower the knees down to the mat, keeping the toes tucked in, keeping a straight line from the crown of the head to the knees. Variation number 2 is you're going to float the knees, keep a straight line from the crown of the head, and energy pressing out through the heels. Upper arm bones pressing to the walls, outside walls like they did in tabletop. One more breath here. And then exhale, squeeze the elbows, lower down slowly, squeezing them into the rib cage, all the way down to the floor. Inhale, just lifting the sternum in a baby back bend. Toes pressed into the mat. Inhale to press the mat away, coming up to your knees. And then exhale, lift the hips, extend the arms, bringing the hips up towards the ceiling as you extend those legs back, but maybe still somewhat of a bend in the knees. Heels are reaching towards the floor, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily touching. Shoulders are moving away from the ears as the shoulder blades move down the back. Inhale to bring the gaze to the hands, lower the knees to the floor. And then you're stepping that left foot forward, coming back into a low lunge. Coming to a stand on the right knee, so pad that right knee if it needs it. You can bring your hands to that front thigh, and then you're just going to wiggle the left toes forward enough so when you bring your hands to your hips, you note that the hips are pretty even from side to side. Plugging that left femur into the hip socket. Start to just hinge forward ever so slightly, lengthening along the hip flexor of the right thigh. Arms can stay where they are, or you can inhale to reach the arms up. And again, same thing as before, bending at the elbow. And this time, if you have the hands crossed at the back of the neck, you're layering the other hand on top, and you're pressing the back of the skull against the wrists. Keeping the shoulders out of the ears. Last inhale. Exhale to lower the hands down, frame that front foot, tuck the back toes into the mat, float that back knee, and then step both feet up together, meeting in forward fold. Exhale, let the head hang heavy. And then inhale, half lift. Start to toe heel the feet together so that they are touching. Shins, calves are pressing together, inner thighs are pressing together, knees are pressing together. You're starting to lower that seat down, and you're going to just rest your forearms on your thighs. So right now what you're attempting to do is keep that crown of the head reaching towards where the wall meets the ceiling, keeping the spine lengthened as you lift the sternum. And you can stay right here, or you can inhale, reach the arms up as you lower that seat down. Take one more breath here.
And then exhale to lower the hands as you press up to standing. Inhale, reach the arms up. Cactus the arms, exhale into a baby back bend. Inhale to reach up, and then exhale, hinge forward into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the hands down, take a big step all the way to the back of the mat. Either lower the knees into modified plank or stay in full plank for one more full breath. Keeping that belly button towards the spine. Exhale to squeeze the elbows into the rib cage, lower down into chaturanga. Inhale, you can stay in that low cobra, or you can lengthen the arms up into high cobra. Tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take 2 full breaths. Nice lengthened inhale, lengthened exhale. Really lifting the tailbone towards the ceiling. Nice. And then inhale, lifting that right heel. You're going to let the right foot float up. It could just hover over the floor, or you can lift it up to about hip height. Trying to keep that pelvis parallel for now. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, as you shift forward, you're going to pull that right foot forward all the way to the right hand, and you're going to let the left knee drop down. So now we're right back into that low lunge. Hands can come to the front thigh, hands can come to the hips. Notice where they are, checking out if they're still even, or hands can reach up to the ceiling. Take an inhale here. If you choose, you can lower your hands to the floor to assist this, or you can press into your feet in the ball mound of the back foot. Inhale, float that knee up into high crescent lunge. If you'd like, you can come a little further into your back extension. And then from here, exhale to lower the hands to shoulder height. You're going to bring that right arm all the way back behind you and come into an open twist as your gaze comes towards your right thumb. Inhale back to center. Exhale, both hands come down inside that right foot. You can keep that left knee floating off, or you can exhale, lower the knee down to the mat. Either one is fine. You can stay right where you are, or you can just start to walk those hands forward, maybe even lowering the elbows down if that's available to you. You're pulling that right knee towards the right shoulder. Your gaze is about where the mat meets the floor. Hold here and breathe for about 3 more breaths. Nice. And then inhale, replace the hands back to the floor if they're not already there. Lift the knee if it's not already there, and then create a little space by lengthening your front leg and lifting your hips. You're going to just step that back foot out so that the back foot is pointing at about 10 o'clock. So right foot is at noon, back foot is at about 10 o'clock. Inhale, reach the torso up, lift the arms, and you're in Warrior One. Gaze comes to the fingers. And then exhale, lower the hands to the hips. You're going to come to that ball mound of the back foot. Inhale to press up and float forward, coming into your version of a balance pose. So the back foot can just be hovering over the floor, or you can lift that back foot up so that it is about hip height. Your hands can stay on your hips, or you can extend the hands out into airplane pose. Find something on the ground that's not moving. Use that as your gaze point. Nice. Bring the hands together, heart center. Inhale to lift the torso as you float the knee up towards the front. Supported on the firm foundation of the right foot. If you choose, You can keep your hands there or you can grab behind the thigh. You can interlace the fingers in front of the shin and press the shin into the hands. That will help to lengthen the spine as you lift the crown of the head to the ceiling. Or perhaps you bring those left two fingers onto your big toe and do a toe bind. Right hand stays on the right hip. If you have opted for either the grip behind the thigh or the toe bind, you can inhale, start to extend that leg forward. Any amount. We're just coming like towards straight-ish. Last breath here. Release the bind if you have it. Bring the hand to the hip and then exhale, lower down. Back to standing mountain pose. Find your foundation on your feet. Move those feet from side to side. Lifting the crown of the head to the ceiling as you stack the hips over the ankles, shoulders over the hips. Crown lifts. And then, if it's available, close your eyes. Feel your body. Notice the quality of the breath. Centering the tension and focus back on the breath. Inhale, you're going to reach the arms up, open the eyes, bring the hands to the ceiling, exhale into your baby back bend. Inhale, reach up, exhale, hinge forward from the hips into forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold, you're going to start to walk those feet together again. Squeezing the legs together as if you're bringing them into one leg, one pedestal, and then starting to bend the knees. Again, forearms to the thighs, sternum is lifted, crown of the head reaching towards the wall, where the wall meets the ceiling. You can stay here, or you can inhale, lifting the arms, weight on the heels as you lower the seat. And then exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat, deep bend in the knees, step the feet all the way to the back. Coming into your version of plank pose, whichever works for you for this time around. And then exhale, lower down into chaturanga. Inhale into your version of a back extension, whichever one feels better now. Tuck the toes, exhale, downward dog. Hold here. Breathe for 2 full breaths. Maybe let the head nod, let the head shake, releasing tension out of the neck. From here, your foundation is your right foot and both hands equal pressure. Inhale, you're going to lift those left toes. Maybe they hover over the mat. Maybe the left heel comes up to about hip height, keeping the pelvis level. And then exhale, pull that left foot up to the left hand, lowering that foot down as you lower the back knee to the mat. You can keep those back toes tucked in. You're going to inhale to lift. Hands either can come to the front of the thigh. Hands, again, maybe checks the pelvis, or you can inhale and reach those arms up. Breathe here for 1 more breath. Release the shoulders. And then, same as before, lowering the hands to the floor to assist as you lift, or inhale, pressing into that front foot and ball of the back foot, float the back knee, high crescent lunge. You can stay with your hands towards the ceiling, or you can start to reach your hands towards the wall behind you for more back extension. Nice, and then exhale back to center. Arms are forward, and then you're going to exhale, move that left hand back behind you. Your gaze comes towards your left thumb. Your right hand reaches to the wall in front of you. Open twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, both hands come down inside that front foot. You can keep that back knee on or off the ground, whichever you prefer. Once you feel the movement and the position, letting your body guide you of what the next best option might be, possibly coming down to the elbows. Staying up on your hands is totally fine. Let the breath restore you. Inhale to lift the gaze to the fingertips. Bring the hands back inside the foot if they're not already there to lift the torso. You're going to bring the left hand around on the left side of that foot. Inhale to float that back knee up and start to extend the front leg to create a little space so you can pivot that back foot down. So now the back foot is pointing at about 2 o'clock. Keeping the bend in the knee, inhale to lift the torso, reach the arms, and then the front knee lunges as much as is appropriate for you. Gaze can either be where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you, or maybe you bring the gaze to the fingers. Nice. Exhale to lower the hands down to the hips. Finding your foundation on your front foot, making sure you have enough space. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Inhale to press away, floating that back foot up any amount. Maybe it hovers, maybe that back foot comes up as high as hip height. As the chest remains open, the sternum coming towards the floor, creating a parallel line from the crown of the head out the back of the right heel. Hands can release and come into airplane arms if you choose. Find that gaze point, engage the core, and let your breath help keep the balance. Nice. Keeping that front knee softened, you're going to start to pull that right knee up and through as you lift up to a standing position. Hands can either be behind that thigh. You can interlace the fingers in front of the shin so you can press the shin into the thigh, or into the hands as you press the hands into the shin, opening up the chest, lifting the crown. And then as before, other option, bringing those right fingertips to do a toe bind on the right big toe. Left hand can come to the left hip, and then start to extend that right leg however much. If your hands are interlaced into the shin, you just stay there, pressing the shin into the hands. If you're extending, pull that right shoulder blade back into its socket. Last breath here. Gently release. Lower the foot down to the floor. Even out the feet. Find your foundation. Stacking hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. Release the hands, equal standing pose. Full, complete inhales and exhales through the nose. Nice. From here, you're going to inhale, take a deep breath to the ceiling, and then exhale, you're going to take a wide step out to the right, facing the long edge of your mat. Bring the hands to your hips and then even out your feet so that the outside of the heel and the outside of the baby toe are pretty even. And then feel that there's evenness between the big toe ball mound and the baby toe ball mound. So you have a firm foundation in both feet. Inhale to lift the sternum. And then exhale, you're going to start to hinge forward from your hips, keeping those knees soft. Lifting the seat towards the ceiling, slowly lowering the head down any amount. And again, your knees can be bent significantly if that's better for your hamstrings and low back. Releasing the hands, lower them down to the mat. Releasing all of the tension out of the back of the neck, let it hang heavy. Now, no matter how straightened or bent your knees are, what I'm asking you to do is start to pivot your toes out to the corners of your mat and really get a nice significant bend in the knee as you really lower that seat down. Maybe the seat even drops to almost parallel to the knees. You can stay right here if you choose. You can raise your hands to rest your elbows on your knees if you choose, keeping again that confident chest, collarbones open. Or next option is start to lift up, reaching the arms to the ceiling, keeping that nice bend in the knees, and then exhale, pull the arms out into goddess arms. Nice. Hold here for 2 breaths. Find the feet. Let the feet energize you up through the floor. Last breath, and then inhale, come up to a standing position. You're going to take that right foot and make it parallel to the short edge of the mat. The left toes are going to point out to the short edge of your mat, and then really think about firing up the muscles that are just above the knee in that little indent. As you do, you're going to bend into that front knee, and then maybe even use the hand to guide the knee over that second and third toe. You're not forcing it, you're just guiding it. If you notice that your knee is doing this and really caving in towards the big toe, back off. Just lessen the bend. Inhale, you're going to reach the arms up into the letter T, and then exhale, lower the left elbow inside, or actually to the thigh, as you raise the right arm up to the ceiling. Exhale to lower that right arm to your low back. From here, you're going to pivot that left elbow and think about bringing that left fingers, the left hand towards the hip crease. Notice if you're able to reach the right hand around and you can do a bind with the arm, left arm on top of the thigh. You're welcome to stay here for your bind. If it's in your practice and you choose, you can lower the left elbow inside the left knee, reaching around to grab the hands underneath the thigh. As you do that, your number one consideration is to make sure the chest stays open and you are stacking shoulder over shoulder. Take 2 more breaths here, whichever version you're in. And then exhale, release. Lower that left hand inside the left foot. And then you're going to start to extend that left leg as much as possible. Now, if you choose, you can always bring that hand to the shin as you open up, again, keeping that chest confident and extending the spine long, opening up that right side body. Right arm comes up to the ceiling. And expressing triangle pose in whichever version works best for you. Nice. Nice full breath here. Soften into that front knee. Inhale, lift the torso, hands back to the hips. Your left foot is going to pivot parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right foot is going to point out at that edge of the mat. Same thing, finding that indent above the left knee. On the outside, fire up those muscles. Press those muscles into the fingertip. Right hand is going to help guide the right knee over the second and third toe. Inhale to reach the arms up. We're just moving through Warrior 2 to bend that right elbow, lower it to the thigh, reach the left arm up to the ceiling. Extended side angle version. You're going to lower that left hand back to the lower back. Right hand can stay right where it is, or you can pivot if the shoulder mobility is happy with it, and you can bring that right hand back so that you can do your bind and reach the left hand at the hip crease. Nice. Next option, if it feels good on this side, lowering that right shoulder inside the right thigh, getting your bind this direction, opening up that chest, stacking left shoulder over right. Gaze is up towards the ceiling if that's good for your neck. Otherwise, maybe the gaze is where the wall meets the floor in front of you. Release the grip with the hand, bringing the hand either to the floor, ankle, or shin on that right side. Keeping that chest open, inhale to lift the left arm up into triangle. Nice, last full breath here. And then keeping a bend in the knee, inhale, raise the torso up. Hands come to the hips as you turn the toes forward again, both toes pointing straight ahead. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, lengthening the spine, lowering the hands to the floor. If the hands aren't reaching the floor, it's perfectly fine. Just bring the hands to the thighs, shins, wherever they may land, so that you can comfortably release the hamstrings, the low back, and the back of the neck. Inhale to lift the sternum, lift the crown of the head to the wall in front of you, and you're just going to toe heel the feet to the center of the mat. Now, we're ready to come right back into one last version of chair pose. Squeezing the calves together, squeezing the thighs together, squeezing the knees together, lifting the sternum, lowering the seat, lengthening the spine. Arms can either cross on the thighs in front of you, or you can lengthen the arms up, gaze at the fingertips. And then if you choose, lift the heels, coming to the toes. Hold and breathe. And then, heels lifted or not, you're just going to start to lower yourself down, lowering that seat. You are always welcome to bring the hands to the floor at any point, or just come down to a seated position another direction. If you are coming down to the toes, hold and breathe, gazing at a point on the floor that's not moving for balance. And then either coming just to a seat as you are with the arms out in front of you, or lowering your hands to the side so you can lower your seat down to the floor. Bringing those legs out to a comfortable distance. You're going to bottoms of the feet together, knees open wide, hands either on the shins, ankles, or maybe just hands even inside the thighs. Inhale to lift the sternum, crown of the head reaching up, and then exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Starting to move slower now as you find that point where your body is saying, I feel it, but it's not hurting. You don't want to go to the point of pain, but helping your body find a little extra space by inviting it to come forward to that edge where it can just start to move a little bit looser. Once you've held it there for about a breath or two, if you choose, you can take an inhale to prepare, and then exhale. Let that head start to hang down, rounding the spine, releasing tension out of the neck, and then feeling that opening from the top of the head all the way down to the low back, even across the hips and pelvis. Inhale to lift the head up. Start to walk the hands back, lifting the torso up. You can stay here if this is better for you. Otherwise, our next option is going to do one more groin and hip opener. So you're going to open the legs wide. And the biggest indication for this, for the edge for this one, is you want your toes to be able to point up to the ceiling and your knees to be in that same alignment. So if you notice that your toes are wanting to fall in or out, you might want to bring your legs in a little bit closer together. And then the second thing is one hand in front, one hand behind. Just lift up so that you can kind of steady your pelvis, be in the middle, and still lift the torso and the head, rather than you're kind of slumped over because you just don't have enough mobility in the hips. So let the wideness of the legs be the guide for that. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, hands either down to the legs or in front of you. Again, walking forward with an extended spine first to start. Lengthening it forward. And as you go forward, again, you're going to let those toes be your guide. If you're moving forward and the toes are falling in with you, just back off a little bit. Once you've reached that same edge where your body is saying, this feels good, I'm getting space, but it doesn't hurt, then you take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, let the head hang heavy. Hold here for 3 full complete cycles of breath, lengthening the inhales, lengthening the exhales. After you have finished your third and final round, you're going to inhale to start to bring the gaze up. Walk the hands back towards the thighs, and then use your hands to support. So you're just going to start to lift up one leg at a time, bringing them towards the center, making sure you have enough space wherever you are. Pulling those knees up and then grabbing opposite elbows, if that's available to you, or opposite wrists, or just even pulling the chest towards the shins, whichever version feels best in your body. Take a breath here to prepare, lifting the sternum, lifting the crown of the head, opening up the collarbones, and then sliding those hands back, reaching behind the thighs, keeping that same length in the spine. Start to lift the toes, tilt back away from your thighs ever so slightly. So you're tilting, you're not rounding down. You're just lifting the chest as you move the hips away from the thighs. And then if you choose, float the feet. And then if you choose, lift the feet up, point the toes. If you choose, release your grip behind your thighs. As you do so, maybe you reach the arms out into a T as you lift the sternum closer to the thighs. Hold here for 2 more breaths. And then exhale, release, lower the feet down. You're going to find a space that's comfortable for you so that you can recline all the way back down on your back, returning to where we started from at the beginning. Lowering down, maybe you roll to your side first to lengthen down along the floor. Starting off with a long full body stretch to begin with. Opening up that hip crease that we just were crunching in together. Nice. And then arms come out from the sides, reaching out, and bring those legs up. Doing one more supine twist. Inhale to prepare. And then this time you're going to exhale and just let both knees fall together over to the right side. And the gaze comes over the left shoulder. And then you're just going to let those legs and arms melt into the floor. Releasing all tension.
Take one more full breath here. And then inhale to start to bring that head back to center. Both knees come up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're going to lower those knees over to the left. Chin comes over to the right. You can keep your eyes open with just a soft gaze here, or you can close your eyes and start to initiate that feeling of Shavasana now. And same as the other side. You're creating a little bit more space here yet along the side body, but your main intention is to just start to let those joints and muscles relax and melt. Inhale to bring the chin back to the ceiling, lift the knees back up. If you choose, you can go into Shavasana right now by lengthening your legs long. If you would like to add one more last inversion, you're going to bring your hands alongside the hips, and maybe even just start to tuck your hands slightly under your hips. Inhale to float the knees up towards the chest, and then extend the legs long. Feet are flexed firmly, pressing the ceiling away from you with your feet. Ironing your spine down long along the mat. Hold here and breathe. If going into plow pose or any version of shoulder stand would feel good right now, that's an option. Or on your next natural exhale, you're going to start to bring those knees out to the side body, thighs coming out to the outer ribs, maybe grabbing ankles or outer arches of the feet as you pull down into happy baby. Again, ironing that spine, pressing the tailbone down to the floor, pressing the shoulder blades towards the waist on the back body. Last breath here. Whichever version you are in, gently and slowly releasing the hips, lowering down the legs, and then extending out into Shavasana. Keeping space in the hips, lengthening long from the crown of the head out through the heels, letting the toes fall open, letting the shoulder blades melt away from the ears. Keeping a light seal to the lips as you inhale through the nose and continue to exhale through the nose. But you're not controlling the breath. You're letting the breath be your focus, keeping your mind quiet. Allowing that breath to flow smoothly and allowing that breath to bring an extra measure of relaxation into the body on every inhale and release an extra measure of tension on every exhale. And continuing with this for about 1 more minute. Out of the face, neck, jaw or tongue that you may not have even been aware of. Next inhale, start to bring small movements to the fingers and toes, letting that movement move into the ankles and wrists. Inhale again, extend long, reaching the fingertips above the head, pointing the toes, and then exhale and gently roll over to the right side body, resting the ear on the upper arm. Just pause here to acclimate for about one breath. And then inhale to press the floor away, coming all the way back up to a seated position. Bring the hands together, thumbs together. Press the thumbs into the sternum to open the collarbones, lift the chest. Inhale here, and then exhale, just tilt the chin and gaze at the fingertips. Last breath. And namaste. Nicely done. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful